This is the first time. All right, so we have my buddy Chris with me. Chris, say hello.
Hello.
Welcome to BrandtCast. So, you guys are probably gonna hear my dog barking. We've had to throw her outside, but other than that, we've tried to get our mics and cameras tested. This is the first time we're doing like in-home podcast since the pandemic. Not that it had anything to do with it, but it was easier to access people the other way. So, Chris, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Hildebrand.
Mr. Hildebrand. I've never been called Mr. Hildebrand. It's always been my father's name.
You sure at the doctor's office they haven't called you that?
No. Well, they might have. They might have.
No, Brandon's way
yesterday.
easier to say, so they went Brandon.
They probably did. I don't know. I had to spell my email yesterday at the doctor, which I'm not going to spell over here, but they were, I was like, I didn't make it easy on you guys if you've ever had my email. So that was great.
Got to be earned.
It does have to be earned. So, dude, this is something I actually found out this morning right after I got up. So, you know, like the Joe Rogan podcast, right? Well, they're trying to cancel him. Have you heard that?
I think so. I think a few artists on Spotify has been trying to get him removed and such. I don't know a whole lot about that.
I forgot about that
issue.
one too. Yeah, but they're like piling it on right now. I found out this morning that someone made a compilation video, and this is funny in light of our conversation last night. Remember when I told you and Kyla that we weren't gonna? I said, if you're going to do me any favors, just don't use the N-word. You remember we were talking about that? Well, apparently they have this compilation video of Joe Rogan using, like, the N-word. Like, apparently in context, he's just, making reference to it, not actually saying it to somebody, you know what I mean? But they're trying to get him canceled over that now, not just the Spotify people, because they were after him, like, over COVID.
I just found out about all this recently, but yeah, they'll find anything and pick the stuff and put it together to get you canceled, man. Get canceled 2022. Just watch words.
I was actually we're gonna get a new computer, but I was gonna show you the video where they got Joe Rogan actually apologizing to like the mob, I guess you will.
You mean the media?
I don't know, like.
Better be careful. I might get canceled myself.
Yeah, for real though, just for saying the N-word, not even the actual word, just for saying it.
Well, you remember what happened with Morgan Wallen a few months back?
No.
He was at his house talking to somebody. I don't know what ethnicity they were or what. I never saw the video. But he dropped a hard R, and his neighbor was recording and got it posted, and they took him off Spotify and everything else, and even the regular radio. But I think he's back now. He issued an apology and actually done a song with Lil Durk. So I mean, obviously it doesn't either money's so much of an issue that they don't care about what people do, or it wasn't an issue for them at all. That I guess we'd have to ask the individual people. But
and who is that now?
Morgan Wallen.
Morgan, who's he from? I don't know him.
I don't know exactly where he's from. He's kind of pretty popular country singer or pop country.
So he's
whatever.
like a country singer,
right?
I got you. Yeah, and he come back from it then. Like
yeah, he's come back even stronger. I'd like to go to the concert, but I mean, tickets are like $600.
That's too much. Not for me. It's too much. Maybe when we get that $1 million budget on these houses.
Yes, sir.
For those of you who don't know, hopefully at some point, me and Chris just been talking. We haven't done anything yet. We're in way early stages of like thinking about renting like a house or something like that and renting it out. But dude, that's one thing I'm super big on is like, how do I say, getting into a position where we don't have to work for somebody else. We're going to work for ourselves.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. That's what I'm working on now.
Yeah, that's hopefully what we're both working on. Build up that capital, maybe flip a couple cars, get the use on the, I guess, cards then, I guess, or something like that. Because that was the issue, was how do we can form an LLC, but that doesn't help us actually get the business credit to buy a house and to rent it out. That, I think flipping cars was the one of the ways we were going to get started and then grow that into that. Is that kind of still where you're at?
I think so. I tried to talk with my store manager about it at Dance, but about getting a credit account.
Okay, that's why you talked to him. I was like, yeah, why did you talk to your manager about this?
Because I'm thinking maybe flipping cars, we either get a business credit card or get an account with Advance, buy everything through that, pay it off. That builds the business credit. But we have to have the business first, before we do that. Can't just Jill and Dandy,
And the way to get that started first is to start getting the LLC, getting cars to flip. And I think it was in the state of South Carolina. Don't quote me on this. Use your legal Google. It was like 6 or 7 cars you could flip before it became like a business use per year. So I think if we could...
Well, legally, you can, as what they like to call is title skip, if you know anything about that.
No, what is title
skip? So title skip, say, just for instance, you sell me the Buick.
Right.
Except I don't sign under buyer, then I sell it to Becca with you still being the owner of the vehicle. That's...
Oh, wow. I've actually...
Now, that's legal for a dealer to do it. That's perfectly fine because they don't have to register and title the vehicles.
Yeah, well, they're bonded and all that good stuff. So there's no actual risk either way they do it. But the way they, I guess, want you to sign a title in this, like the state of South Carolina, you need to sign it. And once they sign it over to you, you need to get the whole title changed. That way you can sell it. And I've actually, now that you mention it to me about title skipping, I've had that done to me where they'll have, and I've had to actually one time go back for a vehicle that needed to be signed right because something was messed up with it. The guy that sold it to me wasn't the original signer, so he couldn't fix it. I had to find out who he got the vehicle from. So, if you're out there and you get a title that somebody's going to sign, say you're going to pay $300 cash for a car or whatever you're going to pay, make sure their ID matches the name on that title. Because you could actually get in other kinds of trouble. Like, say, for instance, there's a lien on it, and that's just an old copy of the title before the lien.
Yes, sir. That's how they get you. And
why are you calling me sir?
Just being respectful, man.
No, it's
and
not
polite.
Like that. You got to stop. You got to stop with the sir.
All right, Brandon. Don't make no difference to me.
But going back to the cancel culture thing we were talking about, I realize I'm away from my mic, but going back to that, here's that video. They got him, I guess, like apologizing. Let me see if it's the right one. Let's see.
Remember back in like the early 2000s, early 2010s. Thing was, to go hit that 100,000 views on a video, go viral, and now it's like, now everybody's getting canceled
for doing it. I don't know if I can find it. It's on there. If you just type in Joe Rogan apologize, and then type N-word, not the actual N-word, you'll find it.
But it seems to be more like conservative, right wing people that get canceled, not.
Well, it's come to the attention of everybody that like Joe Rogan is not a fan of what would be considered the radical left. What would be like the people who are trying to totally abolish like capitalism, who have that kind of negative view of it. And those people are starting to come after him. Because he used to be on the side of like, I guess, it's not like used to be on the side. He's always kind of been doing his thing. It's just kind of like they've gone so far away that they're not even the same page anymore, where he used to be like, yeah, let's legalize marijuana, whatever, try psychedelics, and just do honest, good research, alternative research, which typically like people who were on the more democratic side of things or the left or whatever you want to call it, or alternative views, were typically fall in that category. And now it's kind of, I don't know, they like to hammer down on everybody that they got stuck in a narrative, I think. I don't know. It just seems like, I mean, the Republicans do it too, I'd say.
I mean, they always. I mean, look at what they try to do to old Donnie T, man. So I mean, like one of my sayings, one of my good buddies says that left and right wing both on the same bird.
Yeah, that's for sure. There isn't any two ways about it. Because I've seen, say, Donald Trump supporters support. How do I say? Yeah, with every person, you're gonna have an area in which you're like, I can't endorse this part. You know, at least that's how I feel. I've never met anybody that'd be like, yeah, I can just, everything about him is exactly the way I would do it. You know what I mean? But when it came to Donald Trump, that happened at different times. And then you had a middle part of people, like maybe me or you, were like, yeah, he kind of stirs up trouble for no reason sometimes. But that doesn't mean he's totally useless. That's what I've seen. But I've seen other people who Donald Trump, his word can't be wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, most definitely. You get your as you know, Scott likes to say Trump towards or however whatever they call them. Which there's most definitely a lot of people like that. But also there's people I know that are like, I hate Donald Trump, but I voted for him and he was a great president for this country. He was a butthole to everybody, but that's what we need to get this country right and not take no crap off nobody.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that, dude. He was totally he was he was a jackass for all intents and purposes, but the stuff that he brought to pass as far as policy seemed to be very good for the country as far as other than like the stimulus package with like once COVID hit, it went to the toilet.
And that was probably the idea from the get-go to crash and burn.
Oh, you think it's a conspiracy?
Not exactly, but it's,
I think they spun it. Maybe there was a lab leak. Maybe there wasn't. And maybe that leak in and of itself wasn't at Donald Trump, but the media definitely spun it.
Yeah, the media took it. They took that handoff and they ran it to the house, man. They going all to the end zone,
Yeah, that when they found out, I guess, he's the guy, because that's the way they're always going to do it. Anytime it's the guy in office, it's got to go back to that, because everything's all about the president, if you will. And
you could,
yeah, go ahead.
You can look at like a 1995 bottle of Clorox wipes, whatever, and it'll say coronavirus. So, I mean, obviously it's been around for thousands of years now.
Thousands of years. That's funny you say that way. Me and her have been watching something from when I was a kid, right? When I was a kid, there was this series. He was a minister. He was a preacher. But before I ever knew of like what independent Baptists were or anything like that, I'd actually watched this guy's name was Kent Hovind talk about like millions of years of creation and different things like that. Well, not millions of years of creation. He like debunked the Big Bang Theory, or that was his end goal, bro. If you've never watched that stuff, like, because a lot of people are taught to believe in evolution. There's a lot of people in our area who don't believe it just because it's not in the Bible, or there are some who just believe it just because science says so. That guy, seemingly, I'm rewatching it again because, 12 to 15 years ago is a long time for my views to stay the same.
Oh, for sure.
Everything changes. And I've been going back to kind of see what I still agree with and what I like, because even scientifically speaking, I've read more articles today than I did when I was 12. You know what I mean? Or when I was 15 and rehashed it again. So like things like the red shift and stuff like that, I have a better, more fundamental understanding of what, say, someone who's like a proponent of like the Big Bang Theory or of those arguments, I have a better idea of what they're saying. So it's easy to I guess, go over his material, because his material can sometimes actually seem like it's over your head. You don't usually don't get that with like preachers or something like that, but he run it like a PowerPoint presentation. He was. I was telling Babe that he was the meme lord before they were memes. You need to check him out. I got to send you his videos.
Yeah, please send me that. And the Big Bang Theory, is that not like a 64-ounce Bang energy drink you chug in 25 seconds?
No. I mean, you know what it is, right?
Oh, of course. I was just having some comical relief here.
No, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I understand the theory behind black holes, and you know how in a black hole, matter and light and everything.
Even light can't escape a black hole.
Yeah, and it just compresses. And I get where they'd get the idea of it going like that, but it's something that a lot of people don't give a second thought to. Like, I guess growing up or whatever. Was it like that for you?
I kind of knew a little bit about black holes and stuff. Watched movies and stuff and some shows, and then had it in it. So I kind of further than I think this probably ain't right, but like my understanding of a black hole, it's formed when the star explodes, or there's like a stage of a star exploding where it becomes like a supernova or something, and then when it finally explodes, and that's when it turns into a black hole. I'm probably not exactly.
Yeah. But it's close. There's like a cataclysmic event that kind of, I guess, rips space-time or whatever, and then there you got your black hole.
Yep, ain't it funny how life changes?
This is true. And now we can see one. Did you see where they actually got infrared, I don't think is right. It might be infrared. But they use a certain type of light capturing device to kind of actually get an image of a black hole. So like the whole time we grew up thinking a black hole existed, we had no actual evidence. We had circumstantial evidence, what we saw around the universe that kind of seemed like it, but we actually never got to pick one up, if that makes sense. It's like before we could know that there was a Japan, or a different country, we kind of saw different evidences of it or something. I don't know how to actually.
I completely get you.
Yeah.
Now, where the audience will get you, that'll be the question.
I don't know. But most people I know are pretty smart. Okay, maybe that's not right, but I mean,
there's some big OSBs around the world.
Yeah, but people that I know that I like associate with, I don't know.
Have intelligent conversations with, that might be the lack of better terms.
Yeah. I love how Jake is just back there with the soundboard with Babe. We keep old Jake around. Bella, we had to throw her outside.
Outside?
Gosh, where was I going with some of this stuff? Oh, I had a buddy go to a car meet today in Charlotte. He left at 6:00 in the morning. You want to see some of these cars?
Sure.
There's nothing better to talk with the Roginator with than cars. That's for sure.
Yep, unfortunately.
Why unfortunately?
Yes.
Is it your lot?
Huh?
Is it your lot in life?
I guess. It seems like it. Work on cars, sell car parts, build premier luxury cars.
Scroll through these. Actually, and if you can identify them, some of them I couldn't even identify. That doesn't happen to me much at a car meet, but... Am I shaking the camera? Okay. I tend to, bounce my knee, all the time.
Yeah, I can't identify some of those either.
Isn't that crazy, though? I thought we knew something.
No, we don't know. We don't know anything.
That's true. We don't know the half of it, man.
We can tell you about the Chevy Aveos and the Honda Accords and the Ford Focuses and stuff, but when you get into the
high end,
the $500,000, multi-million-dollar car, that's...
I guess for people like us, it's more or less irrelevant because we don't drive them. You don't see them all the time.
I think if I had the money, I wouldn't buy it. might buy me a nice Corvette, to drive around or something. I might. But
It would be nice, Chris, if, like, say I was financially stable enough to where I could go out and not worry about messing up my own Corvette and working on it. Wouldn't that be, like, the dream, though, to have a nice shop? Like, to me, that's the dream. I could see the smile light up in his eyes. Yeah, I mean, come on, Chris. If you could go in your garage and you had, like, a lift and you had you a nice, whatever brand of toolbox you like, Snap-on or Mako, whatever, and you just had your own man space in there.
I mean, that's what I want anyway, but.
Yeah. That would be me, man.
With or without the Corvette?
With or without? What would you get instead if
I
you
don't
were
know.
rich enough?
I mean, I'd take just the garage now.
Oh, I know, dude. I'm telling you, man. I need you to build me one. We'll get Steve.
Yeah, get Steve to build one.
Get Steve one.
Probably do a lot better.
He'll be on the podcast hopefully next week.
That'll be good. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Old Steven Callaway. Need to
Stephalophagus.
Shout out to Stephalophagus. Hey, he's Christopher. Steven named him Christopher. I'm Brandophilus, so.
Brandophilus?
Yeah, I'm Brandophilus. Or whatever, Apparently at work now I'm just Berg. I don't know how Berg got involved. I think it's because I told him, like, I lived in Heidelberg, Germany years ago or whatever, and.
Nazi?
Not Nazi. I wonder, though.
That's how BMW got their start, right? They built airplanes.
Did they?
Yep.
What do they call it? Wolf's, I can't say it right. If I wasn't on camera, I'd
Or they
know.
were at least providing engines for the airplanes and the war.
Were they really? I know Volkswagen was definitely a key player there. They were literally called the People's Wagon, Volkswagen, or whatever.
I mean, you look at what Ford did.
Ford did the same thing.
Building tanks and whatever, and Jeeps, and...
They took the government contract. I mean, I would too, wouldn't you, though? I mean...
Speaking of government contracts, we got one coming around the corner.
Is it not working right? Okay, so we're back.
After a brief commercial break.
Yeah. And that was because I'm working with OBS Studio. That's the program we're using to try to run all these cameras and mics. My computer is garbage.
Trash.
It was good trash at one point. But
So it was garbage.
Yeah. So we had to get the scene switcher to. I don't know if you noticed. You'll see where.
It's very glitchy.
Yeah, it was glitchy. So I had to work some of those kinks out, and this is the first time we're doing this.
So like good trash, as in like the rich neighborhood, they threw out the old couch that's 1 year old because they bought a brand new set.
It was in 2011. You talking about the laptop? It was.
Just whatever you're making a reference to, the whole system or just the laptop in general.
No, just laptop. Speaking of which, what do you think of the setup?
Setup's really nice, man. I like it. You got your Zelda, you got your Pokemon. It looks like Pokemon Blue, My Hero Academia, and their your PlayStation little light up sign.
Did you
Even though you don't have a PlayStation, but we'll save that topic for.
It hurts. I always get a PlayStation. I like PlayStation, but I sell my PlayStations. I just find a good reason to sell them. Did you play Zelda back in the day?
I didn't really play Zelda, but I played a lot of Mario, Pokemon, and some of the others.
Yeah, dude. So you see the blue version? I actually, those are worth like $100 now.
Mm-hmm.
We found that in the house that we've been working on.
Seems like it was meant to be.
It was the only thing worthwhile just about in there, other than family photos and stuff. But Oh, dude, I want to get a house so bad. I'm telling you, man.
Just go up to Clayton Homes, man.
Do they have like used ones lying around?
Possibly, or repos. I think there's a repo trailer place right up the street. I'm sure you've passed it a million times.
Well, you talking about it on 221?
Mm-hmm.
But there ain't nothing there no more. They're usually gone now.
I got
what's it called? The Junction?
Yeah, something like that. Mobile home repos.
So they're useless now. I don't ever see anything on their lot. I do need to get a hold of some of these people though, but I got to get a contractor to tear some of these old houses down.
Stuffalophagus, or he ain't got. I
don't think he's good on the whole like demolition front, just because he doesn't have all those extra trailers and equipment. But you know Megan Ramey, she's got a friend. I guess his name's Bobby. His name's Ricky Bobby. No, I don't know. But his name's like Bobby. I need to get a hold of him. See if if he's capable of doing that. If he is, and I can save like $5,000 out of 10, because I'm expecting about a $10,000 bill to get these things torn down.
Maybe for both of them. I can talk to Kyla's parents about it.
You do that? Oh, well, they had one torn down. Yeah, please do. I think I mentioned that before. Yeah, talk to them, because that would be like, if they had somebody that would not charge me a ton to get those torn down and gone to where I can still use my hookups without like having to pay a lot of money to fix them, that would be great. Because that's what I'm worried about. I'm just worried about somebody getting on my piece of land and actually tearing up more than they should. But I guess we'll find out. So they know somebody?
Yeah, they know somebody.
Okay. He's like, I love how you go up like, yes, Mr. President, they know somebody. No, that microphone actually picks up pretty good. You ain't gotta, I don't think you're gonna have to lean up to it too much. This one though is like that. This one's kind of like, I center my whole face around it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm dead.
You're still breathing.
Do you have the vape pen? Yeah. No, just give me the vape pen. It's not an intermission. I'm just gonna shut up now. You're fine. Thank you. I feel like Bernie. You remember Bernie Mac show back in the day? Tell me you remember the Bernie Mac show. Do you not remember the Bernie Mac show?
No,
remember Fresh Prince, but you don't remember you remember Fresh Prince?
I remember Fresh Prince. Yeah.
Old Will Smith. Yep. But
you do have Trace Años on me.
Trace Años.
3 years, you non-Spanish speaking.
Is that what that is?
Turn the mic off.
He's like, turn the mic off. No, okay, so you don't know the comedian Bernie Mac? For real?
I've heard of him. I've never really watched him or anything.
Okay, so what year were you born?
3 years after you.
Okay, don't give your whole birthday on here. So 3 years after me, so 1995, 6, 7. 1997 or 1998?
8.
Okay, so 1998. I love how he's still going on. Yeah, you gotta stop. I feel like we're having class whenever you go like that every time you talk. Okay, anyhow, Bernie Mac was a comedian. If you were born after 1998, you may be eligible for a lawsuit against the world today for not showing you Bernie Mac.
No, we just watched Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle is like next level.
Clayton Bigsby.
Oh, it's Josh might have shown up. Hold on, hang on to it. People, give me 1 moment. 1 moment, please. Do 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 do. Okay, sorry, we had to stop again because someone came to the door and delivered my package that I thought I didn't get. It went to the other house. But this is for all you guys. And I showed Chris, and I'll just mention it to you guys. So this is a type of toothpaste. It doesn't have to be this brand. A lot of European brands and Japanese brands have this. It's actually called Element toothpaste by Boca or Baca. It's not Baca. It's Boca. But it has a special ingredient in it, and it lists on it. And this is the only reason I bought it. It's called nano hydroxyapatite. Apparently the abbreviation is N-HA for the chemical compound or whatever. But what it is it strengthens your enamel. I hate saying the word but what that does is we're always taught, Chris, that your enamel can't be fixed. Apparently it can. We're going to try this and see how that goes.
So that'll bring us to a good topic of discussion about how the system is in America.
It is.
As opposed to offering you the product that'll, keep you right. Supposedly, we don't know, however, but
it definitely needs to be changed. Whatever's, and I was thinking about this yesterday, right? And it's like we don't want to be like an authoritarian country where we can't allow people to sell certain things. You know what I'm saying? We want to do as little of that as possible. What are you thinking?
Oh, man, I know this ain't related to toothpaste, but I know back in the 70s, 80s, I'm not 100% all knowing about the subject, but the guy that had the car running on water or something, the fuel companies bought the
patents
for it, and then pretty much destroyed them, and then
yeah,
that guy somehow just miraculously disappeared a few years later after he was paid off.
Really? I haven't looked into it. I've seen the video though, where the guy has it running on water and he gets it to convert to hydrogen to make it the type of gas you need to run an engine because hydrogen's combustible.
Right.
And it pretty much would have been an unlimited fuel source for cars. I don't know what happened to that either, because I don't remember necessarily the video. You think so?
That's exactly
the money.
What it boils down to it. Think about how much money they make the big fuel companies and oil giants.
I mean, you got a good point, because we in our country allow people to hinder inventions just based on. Yeah, I guess people have a right to sell it, though. It just depends if, like, say that, for instance, was him being forced to. Like, if they just made his life like a living hell or something like that.
That's probably what it was. Like, you either sell us this or we'll have you
come
killed.
after you in different ways, to, I guess, harm your whatever business activity or get your money or threaten you.
Yeah, I hope you stub your toe in the corner of the bed every day for the rest of your life.
I don't think they did him like that. But as far as like, we'll use our medical system as an example, or even the FDA ratings on stuff or what's allowed to be sold. I'm totally for the labels, if that makes sense. Like, but I think there comes another aspect where I think like the pharmaceutical companies or say places like McDonald's or I don't know how this works exactly to where they'll lobby for something not to exist. That's good. Like, say, for instance, is toothpaste. And that happens, I think, a lot in our country.
Probably a lot more than it should.
Like, other countries, I get it and I don't wish that we would be like them. I just wish we managed it better. Like, because we have freedom to sell what we want. Did you see the Ron Swanson video? He's like, I love this country because you can eat a hamburger and blow up to be as big as you want, which I have done. But
as am I. Hefty.
But at the same time, I would like it for there to be a way for people to be more educated about the bad choices that are popular. You know what I mean? A lot more than, say, just buying your regular Colgate. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if this will work or not. That's just an example of that. But you see that in all different places. Like, maybe, and this might be on the fringe, that herbal medicine isn't taught as much. We're often given pills, rather than say like the dietary solution. And I'll say doctors, yeah, they'll tell you to clean up your diet, but most people don't have like a great dietary, education for themselves. Keto, it's gotten more popular, and I guess that's a good thing.
No, I done keto for a month last year. Yes. I lost about 15 pounds in 2 weeks, and after that, I didn't really see any more loss. But I know with the keto, you're supposed to stop, for a little time period or so, maybe like a week, and then get back on it. That way, you can reset and lose more weight.
Yeah.
From what I was researching, but
and there's
and just because it's a weight loss diet does not mean it's healthy by any means.
Do you think it's unhealthy?
I don't know if it'd be definitely not the best overall. If you're looking for, to be the perfect, if you want to lose weight, fine. But, if you're trying to be for like total health, perfect, that is definitely not the way to go. Have nothing but meat and essentially just filler vegetables, and I think you can have broccoli.
Yeah.
Some green.
Like low carb vegetables. I mean, your body does run off carbs, but I know at the same time, in our country at least, we put carbs in everything. Everything is carb filled.
And that's what I learned on the diet. Like, I can't have this. It's got so much carbs in it, or I can only have one. I can't.
Have you heard about people like intermittent fasting?
I've heard about that. Yeah, I've actually want to do the 16 and 8.
What do you mean?
All right, 16 hours you can't eat or you don't eat, and then you have 8 hour window that you can eat.
Oh, I did that for a couple of days, and it was working, and I got a stick, and that's the only thing about it is you got to get that discipline. But it's like, so what I did at the time, I'd go to bed at, say, I quit eating at 9 p.m., right? And then I would start eating again, say, when I woke up the next day around 1. And that actually seemed to work. Because, I mean, the problem is you don't want to start overstuffing yourself after that. From what I understood about, like, the intermittent fasting, is people have a tendency to start eating extra during those hours to, because they're not used to, say, that set food amount between those times. Because some of us graze all day, like cattle, which was taught to us when we were younger. Were you taught that? To where you should eat small meals throughout the day?
6 small meals a day?
Yeah, that's what we were all taught. And apparently, as far as losing weight, so maintaining weight, I think that's really good. Like, say you've got yourself to where you want to be, 6 small meals a day, as long as you're not overgorging yourself, that probably works really good. But when you're trying to cut, the intermittent fasting, I knew one girl, I actually worked with her, and she wasn't worst off ever, she's about like you, and but she did the intermittent fasting, and dude, I'm telling you, she cut 100 pounds. She did it for like a year, like that way too, the way we were talking about.
And then I've seen some about like some low calorie.
Yeah, and I mean, and I try to tell a friend this, and I don't know why they're probably drinking that day too much or something. A friend of mine, and Kevin was actually with me that day, but he tried to look at Kevin in the face, and I know Kevin. Like, I've seen this guy when he decided to work out like an athlete, and when he decided to slack off, he tried to tell him, that if you diet and exercise, it's not going to work. That's just not true. Because if you decrease your calorie intake and you increase your body's need for calories, you're going to lose weight. It's literally like subtract and minus, I couldn't believe he told me that one day. I think some people, maybe I'm wrong, they develop into like hopelessness, and I understand, like, I've met some people with like a gastric bypass or something like that, and no judgment, but if you think it's not gonna work and you don't try it, you'll never really know. You know what I mean? He said he tried it though.
And everybody's bodies and stuff's different. So what works for me may not work for you, and what for you may not work for Becca and whoever. It's everything's different when you're trying to diet or eat better or lose weight or gain muscle. It's all you just kind of do your research and see what'll work for you.
And some of those things, I'm not saying that you have to find out what your body needs to get to where you feel healthy. And I think obviously me and you are like we still have a ways to go in that kind of journey or whatever you want to call it. But I come to find out, your body will have different needs based on who you are, but it also has different needs based on who your grandparents were. What did I read online? I read online that if you guys can fact check me on this at some point. I'm not sure I remember correctly, but if your grandparents smoked, the odds of your metabolism being slower than, say, people whose grandparents didn't smoke, that I gotta stop saying but but if, like I said, if your grandparents didn't smoke, the odds your metabolism would be higher was apparently enough to make a difference. I'll put it that way in your daily life as far as eating and stuff.
Oh, this topic has got me so hungry.
Doesn't it, though? We started talking about food. Speaking of which, we have the Yeti cooler. Sorry, I actually won this at work, everybody. But Chris has told me some things about Yeti that now it's going to have to be an Eddie. We're going to have to take the Y off and just make it an Eddie. Why? I don't know. Chris, you can explain why. But this cooler is actually really cool, Chris. Did you get to open it up and check it out? It holds like 25 pounds of ice. You can put like 25 drinks in it at a time. It has like this mega zipper, dude.
It's a waterproof zipper. And you have to
Zipper's kind of difficult, but if you need to get a drink, you'll go through the trouble.
Do I need to insert the classic phrase right there?
What's the classic phrase?
That's what she said.
But it's nice. Dude, check it out.
Don't knock anything over.
Just set it on top of the Bible. I mean,
Yeah, just set it on top of right on top of the Word of God.
Hello?
Did you find a Yeti? What do you think of it?
Really nice, man.
It's $300 cooler.
Oh, I saw it and I was like, dang, big time.
You can sit it down.
But yes, Yeti, the company that pretty much told their biggest customer base to go F themselves.
How? Who is their biggest customer? Us? Are we the biggest customer?
I mean, the NRA, they said we would have nothing to do and they would not support them. And think,
yeah, only the people that are taking their trucks and guns and everything.
Filling the Yetis up every weekend with cold beer, drinks. And if you don't drink, whatever. Go tow it out in a boat.
Why they tell them that? Because I guess they were against like people who carry guns or something.
I didn't go all the way into it. I just saw it, and it's like
goodness. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm a firm believer that guns don't kill people. They do physically if you shoot them.
People kill people.
That's exactly right. If somebody wants to kill you, they'll do it with a fork if they can. Guns might provide easier access, though. I don't know. If you think about it, I thought about, because I look into stuff with Japan all the time.
What are their rules on guns?
They were like, not no, but hell no. Their people are not allowed to have. You can get approved, but it's not like just grabbing your CWP over here. But you can get approved to have a firearm. But it's not like.
Well, I'm sure like ex-military and police have guns, but
I think so. And you can as a civilian, but you have to go through a lot more training. It's more of I guess like an official process.
And so what about us?
Most people don't have them.
And so what about, is that just as far as like a handgun, or is that, a rifle? Or?
I'm not sure, if I'm being honest. I know handguns, you have to go through the training that they put forward, and it's a much more difficult process.
Because I know the gun I want next, well.
What you want?
I want to get me a Draco. So it's pretty much an AK pistol shoots 7.62 by 39. You can get like an 80 round drum for it, and then put a binary trigger, so it shoots when you pull it in as it lets off. And there's other, so it's
Yes.
the one I sent you.
Legal in the United
Perfectly legal because it's not automatic, not
States?
full.
With a drum.
Yeah, you can buy drums anyway. It's just ammo. It's just an
I've
ammo
got a 30
holster.
round magazine for my Glock. I mean, it's awkward.
You should have brought them for show and tell.
No, that would have to demonetized on YouTube.
Think so?
Yes.
No, people show guns all the time.
I don't know, but
Are we at the point now of getting monetized? Or?
No, we are
I was about to say,
nowhere.
yeah.
Nowhere.
no, you have to do way worse.
And honestly, I'm not looking for YouTube to monetize nothing. I was watching a video by Steven Crowder yesterday, and they have been demonetized and deplatformed by you. Not really deplatformed, but they've definitely been demonetized by YouTube. They do all kinds of different things to make money, but it would be amazing if this were like my stream of income. But it's not gonna be.
I mean, you could get demonetized on YouTube if you're playing a song that's not.
Yeah, if it's somebody's got a copyright on it.
If it's a copyright song, they'll demonetize your whole video if you're playing in the background. So, which is stupid, by the way. I know you guys can't see me, but I'm Babe. I'm Rebecca.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We just call her Babe, like the little piggy on Charlotte's Web.
Okay.
Is it Charlotte's Web? Is that what it is, or is it the movie Babe? I don't know.
No, I think it's Charlotte's Web.
Next time, if we ever put a photo out for you for the podcast, it'll have the caption, the little pig named Babe.
So, what is your opinion on weapons?
You mean weapons? Like I want them.
So, like, should it be perfectly legal for me to buy a used or decommission or build my own tank? You know, and have
It's complicated. I guess the question is something to do with the effect of how much military strength should the people be able to carry. You know what I mean? And we have organizations like Blackwater and different things like that that are allowed to function. And you can build your own private militarized organization, but you have to do it through different channels. But just a regular citizen, you can't. Now, what's my opinion? I'm not sure. Would I like a tank? I would love a tank.
You don't need a tank.
Maybe not. But would I like?
Giant toy to you.
I mean,
Make
as
things
far
go
as I'm
boom.
concerned, we could put a bucket in front of it, and it would be the next great Bobcat. You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows?
It's already on track.
The South is supposed to rise again anyway, isn't it? So, I mean, somebody got to have a tank. No, I don't know. I would probably never actually go through the trouble of getting a tank. And even I think if you can have them, you have to have it to where, like, the main gun is welded shut. But it'd be fun. It would be fun. Should people be allowed to have them? I don't know, man. It's like, I definitely think they should be able to have enough weaponry that if we needed to have guerrilla warfare against our own government, because that's the whole point of like the First Amendment, because it's the right of the people that if their government doesn't represent them anymore, that it's their duty to withthrow the government or to overthrow the government. So I do think we should be able to have sufficient weaponry to guerrilla warfare, because no government has ever won in a fight where the people were fighting against them. Like, not really successfully. You know, like the Vietnam War we had trouble with. Afghanistan, obviously, we had trouble with. Is there ways to peacekeep nations like that? But that's not the point. They still always could hold a resistance because we didn't go, you know, and demolish everything with napalm. You know what I'm saying? So,
Speaking on that same subject, resistance.
resistance. What do you mean?
You ever play the little video game, The Saboteur?
No.
It's really good. You're in World War II France.
I just spilled water all over me.
I wish I would have.
World War II France. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, it's where they were, hey, Germany, Just come take us over. We scared. And then these bunch of resistance. So you go around destroying their setups and just
Like resistance to the occupying power.
right. It's pretty fun.
Is it on your cell phone?
No, it's like on the console. I think I played it on PlayStation or Wii.
Oh, like
No.
this is an old game.
No, I played on the Xbox
Oh, did you?
360.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an old game.
You're
I
trying to
didn't
call
have
me
an
old?
Xbox 360, believe it or not, Chris, till I was, till I was like almost 20. Like other people had them. I had a PlayStation 2. I would take the PlayStation 2 and I would modify it to where I could play PlayStation 1 games. It was fun.
I thought they
it was
were backwards
highly illegal.
I thought they were backwards compatible.
They are, but to play burned ones. So I would download like the ISO file on some internet website, and I could literally burn that to a CD, play say Spyro, throw it in my PlayStation 2. If I just swap the discs at the right time. I got a buddy who still does stuff like that, but like he just knows how.
But if you already have the disc, then what's the point?
Well, you don't want it if you already have the disc. You go get a game you don't have. Like, so say for instance, I didn't have enough money for Crash Bandicoot that week. I could go download Crash Bandicoot and take a regular PlayStation 1 game, put it in my PS2. You have to modify it to where you can open the lid, like the flat lid ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it gets to the logo for the PlayStation 1 game, you swap it with your burn disc, and it gets past the security, and then you got your Crash Bandicoot.
Gotcha.
There's all kind. Xbox 360 was significantly harder to mod and break like copyright rules. PlayStation 2 was easy.
Well, of course, the Xbox 360, it had that drive. You couldn't kind of just do that without it throwing the whole thing out of whack.
Yeah, that's the Xbox 360. If I get this new computer, you didn't ever play Halo, did you? Or did you not?
Not really.
Losers. Halo is such a good game. If I get that new computer, I'm gonna play Halo Infinite on it. But you don't know anything about Halo, so they're actually coming out with a movie.
I did see that though,
and I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. I still need to see the Spider-Man movie. Have you seen it? The new one? I want to watch it. This one's supposed to have like Tobey Maguire, and you saw the old ones though, right?
Not the original ones I saw, but
Like the 2000s one.
all the new stuff. They've got so much out. I'm so far behind. It's like
It's getting hard to keep up with like any of the Marvel universe. Plus, I'm not like a big fan of it anymore. Like Disney has gone like so political that sometimes I don't even keep a Disney Plus subscription anymore. Like I did, but they're firing conservatives and all this. I'm like, man, my money could be spent elsewhere.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, not saying our.
I'm not saying you got to cancel everything. It's just like
I remember back a few years ago, back when Starbucks, with the whole supporting the LGBTQ plus community. It's like, we don't need to shop there. They support, all them and this, that, and the other. But it's like your $5 coffee is not going to bankrupt them. So I mean, kind of you do you.
Yeah, I mean, your people not consuming it would make a difference. But what got me with Starbucks is that they specifically told, like, if you were a Christian or whatever, they specifically told you they didn't want your business. Now, I'll still go get a Starbucks for her. But I don't not drink Starbucks because of something they said.
Man, when they do something like that, then,
yeah.
Screw you, but.
Yeah, no, that's kind of how I feel.
But I just hate how things, are so backwards about it and double standards.
Everything's got to be a political stance now, man. Okay,
but you're crying about Chick-fil-A not supporting the LGBTQ plus community, but yet you buy gas. They kill people over there for being homosexual. I mean, like...
Oh, you're talking about the hypocrisy of
right.
buying gasoline and actually driving your car because you go to Saudi Arabia and you might get killed for, say, being a homosexual. Or one of the big things, Russia is not a big fan of homosexuality. I don't know what the rules are, so, no disrespect toward anybody in Russia or whatever. But, that's not something that is It's definitely frowned upon. I don't know if it's illegal or not, but there are plenty of countries that we do get oil from that it is illegal, and you could get killed for, say, being a homosexual, or something like that, which I don't agree with at all. I know people who do in this area who would say something like that. Most of those people have either been quiet now, or you don't hear from them as much. You used to hear about it a lot more, but I think everybody should have a right to do what they want to do, and not a right to force other people.
Right,
you know
right.
what I
That's,
mean?
you want to go be that way? Fine. I'm gonna do me. You do you.
Yeah.
That's completely fine.
But see, here's the counter argument to that, right? Like with the Christian wedding cake bakers. How is that any different from, okay, 'cause they refused to bake a wedding cake for a homosexual couple. For those who don't know, that's a long time ago. The court ruled in their favor, but upheld the rule that others have to, I think. That was recently, because it's been in court for a long time, apparently. But then you have on the other side, in like what happened in the South, the Jim Crow era, or whatever they want to call it, that I think I'm using the right term, where you could refuse someone's service based on their race. Now, the question is, Jim, back in the day, black people wouldn't be served in restaurants. Okay. I heard there's one gas station in Rutherford County. This is a long time ago that I heard this, that there's one gas station that'll still tell black people to get out. I don't know, but I never went there, so I can't verify that.
Okay, I completely do not agree with that. And this will help bring up the next subject here a little bit later.
But what's the difference, though? Is it like just a disagreement based on attributes you can't change? Because people would say you can't change the fact you're, say, homosexual.
Well, this is the far of the serving people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely, not, I'll serve anybody. I work on, cars for anybody. But I feel like as a business owner, I should be able to tell you no,
At your discretion.
Right, but no, definitely not by any discriminatory, hey, everybody.
You have the right to refuse service to anybody.
Right. If I know somebody looks shady, like they're not gonna pay me, well, I'm not even gonna bark up that tree, man. I can't fix your car.
Yeah.
I've got to look out for me.
And I think, okay, so
That's the thing with starting. It's kind of hard to start your business. You got to, especially like with cars, people don't want to pay nothing. It's like,
yeah,
I just charge you half of what a shop would charge you, and then you didn't have to pay a tow bill. And it's like, come on.
Yeah, and then you don't want to do business with them again.
Right. And then people get upset and throw, well, you're not serving me, you're not helping me because I'm da 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 da.
You're not a certain race, or that you don't like them because they're gay or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's what. Hey, their money spends just as good as me, man. If it's green, it's clean, right?
Well, yeah, no. That's why you gotta wash that money.
As long as
launder that money. No. No. We could go like. Did you ever see You Call Saul? Okay. It's like if you ever saw Breaking Bad. You remember the lawyer from Breaking Bad?
No, I need to watch Breaking Bad.
Okay. Well, maybe you don't, but because that show's quite graphic, but it's a great show as far as the story it tells. But there's a lawyer.
About dude selling drugs to pay his family.
Well, he's gonna die, and because he's gonna die, he decides to, they can't put him in prison forever because he's gonna die. So he's like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and make the best meth ever and sell meth. And so it's the story of how that guy, I guess, rises to power, and I think a fictional meth hierarchy. I don't think there's anything real about it.
There ain't, but a little side note here. Smoking meth and going to church does not make you a Methodist. Just got to clarify that for the world.
That was random.
Well, we were talking about meth.
I guess we were talking about meth, but I was not expecting the Methodist church to come up.
No offense to any Methodist people, just a little jokey joke.
It's the they call them the Methodists for a reason.
And in fact, that statement would actually, help defend them. So
I don't know. Methodists are fine, I suppose. I don't mind anybody really. I can deal with whoever or wherever.
You know what we were saying right before the whole...
Oh, I think we were talking about Breaking Bad.
No.
Where that was going.
Oh, right before that, you know, about the businesses and the decline of people's service. And
yeah, I guess, like...
And there was another topic, too, like about the... I think you had asked about the...
What would be like the terms of refusal, I guess, for service? Or were we going somewhere else different?
I think you asked me how I felt about the LGBTQ plus community.
Did I? I mean...
AKA the Alphabet Crew.
The Alphabet...
Might have to edit that one out.
No, it's all good. Unless you want me to, I can edit.
No,
that.
I'm fine with it. I just don't want you to get canceled or get blocked on YouTube.
I'm not worried about it.
I'd feel like
I don't think anybody watches anyway. They might. Say hello if you watch, comment, subscribe.
Ring that bell notification.
Yeah, do like Scotty Kelmer. Ring that bell. That's exactly what he sounds like.
I've not got tired of him, man. He's so much clickbait now, man. He's definitely not the same.
Scotty Kelmer has always been. He can say stuff very critically about other people or different brands, but that's his opinion. But a lot of the tests and stuff he does show is actually pretty good. But he does definitely have more what I would consider like thumbnails and clickbait videos rather than
great content.
Yeah, his content is still good. It's not without merit. Chris Fick's content. Chris Fick's has even kind of changed up his role. He does a lot more silly videos than he used to. It's about they're still focused on cars, but I'm sure he still does his regular.
Well, it's almost to the point where he's done about everything you can do.
Yeah, really though. He's went through all suspension. He's went through
installing, lights on the back of your truck. He's got all kinds of stuff. It's like,
how much more can you really do?
Especially
keep the brand up.
Well, that's why he built a drift car, and he's doing some other things. Bought a BMW to put in some beater race competition out in Germany.
Bless you. Yeah. Dude, have you seen, I know you have, but like these European racetracks, the way they're set up, not like NASCAR.
Yeah,
is just
NASCAR bores me.
NASCAR just seems so boring.
You mean this circle business?
NASCAR just seems so boring. Man, I would love one day to get out there and drive like a whatever kind of modded street car, good suspension. If I had something with a roll cage that I'd got installed in it, I would love to go on a track like that. If anybody sees this video and of tracks like that in this area in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia,
I'm not sure there's plenty of them.
Are there?
I mean, you got I'm not taking Avalanche.
I'm not talking about speedways. I'm talking about like real courses.
Yes, there's real courses. I mean, you just got to have. I don't know all the extent of it because I'm not, in that. But
yeah,
there's plenty of people at Corvettes that would bring them to the dealer. I work at the Chevy dealer that they take it out the track or it's.
But does the track mean the straightaway, or are we talking about?
No, it's like a track. Not
really.
When you say track, it's a course. When you talk about drag strip, that's the.
Yeah, that's the straight line.
Like a race track.
Yeah. So, but a racetrack is
right.
Where it has many different curves
and turns and straightaways and hills.
Like hairpin shit. It's crazy.
I hear you. If you find somebody that knows one, I would love to just take my Jetta out there and see.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going.
Absolutely not. I don't want you to get hurt.
I'd take another vehicle out there.
No.
So speaking of that, you can rent sports car or like luxury like exotic cars.
I figured you could somewhere.
I've seen it down at.
Expensive, though.
Oh yes.
I'm sure it's very expensive.
It's evil laugh almost.
I mean, if it's expensive enough to run a Nissan Altima, I mean, what do you think of?
Yeah, it's $100 like a day to do
But
something.
I think
like that.
$500, $600, $700, $800 for a day or for something.
If you really wanted it, yeah. You know, I would consider it.
Fumble.
Sorry, y'all. Dropped my phone. Here,
But
I was thinking I was gonna be quiet.
I would love to do that. We should do that.
We should.
One day we should like take a serious trip somewhere where we know we have a lot of interstate. If we're ever in Texas, because I hear they have
Chaos, and that's the highest speed limit in the
forever
country.
in Texas, boys. And what's the highest speed limit out there?
I want to say it's 80 or 85.
No, I think they have over 100 miles an hour.
Nope, not.
Okay, well maybe I think it was Austin Wagner that was telling me he was driving like, I probably shouldn't say, but he was driving plenty fast over in Texas, and he said he came back here.
Wait a minute. So
He was driving like 100.
he was driving
like 110 miles an hour in a Honda, I think.
He was doing that, but yet if he sees a yellow light, he flips his visor down so he can't see if he runs a red light. That seems very.
What do you mean?
Well, it was you told me, or somebody told me about Austin. Like if he
it's
going
like,
through a yellow light, he flips his visor down so you don't know if he's running or not. You know.
well, it's kind of like you keep your. It's really a running joke that they got started. That I don't know. I guess I became a part of it. It was funny because we would go up to a light, and by the time we get there, we'd see it turn yellow, and we didn't want to stop. So keep our conscience pure. We flip the visor down like don't want to know. We go anyway.
It's so bad.
Not so bad. I'd do it again if my visor wasn't messed up. I've had my visor every time I take it down, it falls down out of the slot because I haven't put one screw that I just haven't taken the time to put in.
Sound like you need to go to the junkyard and grab you some parts.
I could stay in the junkyard for days, honestly. Going through LKQ is a good time for me. Like if I can go there even just by myself, it's peaceful.
And real LKQ's your big one. You know, you go to like a smaller one or something where you can really get some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody's picking through LKQ.
Yeah, definitely. They have a much bigger base. So if you go to like Vickers or somewhere over here, there's a Gaffney junkyard too as well. I know there's plenty of them in Spartanburg. I want to one day go to Copart, get some of these wrecked cars if I can manage fixing these up and sell them. Cause you know did I tell you about the Tacoma shop?
I passed it the other day going through there. I saw it.
The one where the old dump used to be.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's right down the road though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's some Russian guys that run it.
Oh God.
Well,
I just hope they're cool, man. I deal with a lot of them at the.
Well, you know, it's funny thing, and this is just advice that I've been given around here, and from like Ukrainian, Russian, their daughters. They'll say, you know, don't do business with them because they do their own family wrong, like, or that they'll do. I don't know what the culture is there that they just will charge way too much for certain things or whatever.
I'm sure you see all the Facebook posts and.
Yeah, I knew one girl. She was kind of disheartened with her whole like church experience just because, they'd have people from church advertise their business, you know what I mean, and try to support them by doing business with them, and then they would charge them ridiculous amount of money for what an American would do for the same job. And it's not like we charge cheap, you know what I mean? Like if we take care of ourselves, you know. A lot of us do. There's obviously quacks out there, but I don't know why that goes around like that. I guess there's some truth to it. I don't know. It's no disrespect on anybody Russian.
No, it just seems like a few of the ones I deal with aren't. They got that northerner style, but worse. You know how you deal with somebody from the north. You know, kind of not being nice is the nice kind of. You know, they're kind of, you got that kind of butthole all kind of attitude already about everything.
Something that I guess us Southerners aren't used to.
And then they come in acting like that, acting about sideways about every little thing. You know, it's like, man, I don't want to have nothing to do with you, man.
Yeah, and we definitely have in this area a customer service culture
And hospitality.
Yeah, that's something, and that's one of the reasons I want to do this podcast is so this area is more represented accurately to people. And one thing about here that is nice living here We don't. It's
Sweet tea.
We have our own dickheads out here and stuff. Yeah, sweet tea
Of
is
course we
definitely
have our own.
nice. Yeah, we definitely have people who are just bitter, ugly, and hateful. But the culture predominantly is, people linking up with people and providing good service. When it comes to doing business with people, that's the way usually it is. Like, we had one lady, the lady who fixed your car, actually. We were talking to her. She's from up north. Super sweet lady. I asked her, where she's from, because I wasn't sure. And she told me she was from, was it Boston? I think it was Boston. And she was super friendly. But she also, we were talking about, her coming down here. And she was like, yeah, there's a lot of Northerners that do come down here who will, excuse my language, but they'll shit on here. And I don't mean like the way they live. I mean the way they talk about it. They talk about it like this place is so awful.
Then go back. That's my thing. If it's so bad, leave.
Yeah. I had one lady, and to call her a lady is an overstatement, that I worked with when I worked at Sitel, that she was very inarticulate. And I'm not saying that I am, but I was doing better than her, it felt like. But she would sit here and talk about how it was so great up there. And she's down here, came here for a better life, and was still crapping on it. Like, and I'm like, eventually you come to a point, like, you have to say, my state ain't the worst state. You know what I'm saying? I've been other places. I've seen videos of other places. And I tell you, now that I look back at that conversation and I see what New York and California are doing, I don't regret speaking up. I really don't. Because I used to want to go to California, but now I'm kind of like, at least, it definitely LA. I'd never go to LA. I don't know if like, have you heard about what goes on out there?
I know there's a lot of homelessness and a lot of stuff like that, It's,
Well, I mean,
Famous Cecil Hotel. I just watched a documentary on Netflix the other day.
what about it? Why are you laughing?
That's all.
How are you?
No, you should definitely check out that documentary.
You hit the vape pen too strong.
Yeah, I did. It was about the murder of Lisa Lang, and they released, like, the whole thing centered around this video, this elevator footage, and they couldn't figure out what happened to her because she never left the hotel, right? And I'm probably gonna spoil it for people.
they found her on the roof, didn't they?
They found her in the roof, in the water.
You got warned for spoil, so.
And it turned out that at first they thought somebody had done it because the police reported
Yeah.
that the lid on the tank was closed when they got up there, but it turns out it was open and she was going through, like, she was bipolar really bad.
Yeah.
And she was having a psychotic break and she jumped in to hide from the delusions and couldn't get back out. Found her like 16 days later in the water tank because the guests were complaining about the funny smell and taste of the water.
Oh, that's.
The guests had been showering, brushing their teeth from
Oh.
the water in the water tank.
And this was in
that's how they
California?
found it.
Was this in California?
It's in LA, the Cecil Hotel.
How recently?
It's been, what, a year or two?
2013.
Oh, is that old?
Okay, well that's pretty. That's
And,
really
like,
old.
2 blocks from the Cecil is what they call Skid Row, and it's just tent people, like homeless, and it's terrible.
Really. Yeah, and that's what I've heard about that too. Like, and that's one of the reasons so many people have left. It's because they aren't taking care of.
But then they want to come to our state and ruin our state, make it like that.
That's where people don't understand why Southerners do get frustrated. Is because we feel like that you're going to come and crap on our state, and we don't want that. But at the same time, if you're going to come bring innovation, if you're going to come help this place, not hurt this place, Dan Crenshaw said this. I'm not like his biggest fan, but I've listened to him some. He says, I believe a senator in Texas, it's like there's a certain way to vote. That might not have been Dan Crenshaw, but there's a certain way to vote, that has helped us. We're not perfect. Obviously, if you've watched any of my podcasts, think that there's some things that need to change here. But
no, for sure, most
yeah,
definitely.
there's room for improvement.
Always
If
room.
you're so idealistic that, you know, you turn it into that, you know, we don't need that here. You know, we don't. I don't know what all the difference is in the management between their zoning and cities and the way they re-release people from prison so quickly. I don't know what it is, but we don't need that. Not at least not their governance.
I mean, that's why the South didn't win the first time. We didn't have the infrastructure and the advancement. They were so stuck in the old ways of plantations and stuff.
It took a long time for the South to rebuild. That's actually one of the things I learned in history. I don't know how long that took, but it didn't happen overnight. But we're doing pretty good today, I would say. You know, if we get the gas prices to come down, we'll be all right. I was gonna say something. I can't remember what I was gonna say. Can't remember what it was. I was talking about infrastructure.
Operation Pothole.
Really though, right?
Legalize marijuana, you know, to an extent. Obviously, you know, you can't have your,
Yeah.
But Operation
You don't want crack and cocaine on the street, you know.
Legalize marijuana. Use the tax revenue from that to fix the roads. Operation Pothole.
And I don't know what
Rogers 2024.
Mr. President. But
You're a mean one, Mr. President.
I don't know. It seems like they have plenty of funding. Our gas has gone way up, and part of that was due to a tax that they put on. That we saw that increase about a year or two ago, I think. And now, obviously, since the Biden administration is doing something wrong, feels like. Scott Bishop says not, but, I mean, come on now.
Okay, so discussing with some people at work, they like to say that the previous president is the cause of what happens for the first term of the next president.
Is that what they say?
I can kind of believe it to a point. So like they said, you know, Obama.
Yeah, I mean, they're always going to try to put the mess on somebody else. But ultimately, if they're
But I mean, if, you know, like, well, I'm not getting reelected, so, you know, I'll trash it. You know, I'll tank.
Yeah. Well, it is only the first year. Hopefully it gets better, but...
Second year.
Is it the second year? Well, yeah, I guess it is 2022. He started January 2021. So,
yep.
I mean, I hope it gets better.
It ain't going to get no better. They tried telling me that stuff at work right before the election, the day before the election. Now, it's going to get better tomorrow. Man, it's been downhill ever since.
Yeah, it really has, though. I mean, ever since, I would say, Corona, even with Donald Trump, everything's gone downhill in a general sense. But what time are we looking at right now?
About 1:15.
It is 2:22.
Oh, yeah, 2:22. I looked wrong.
Just check. I'm always checking. But I was going on about infrastructure, and I think that's one thing that the South needs to work on better. Like, not just potholes, but you know how they talk about our power grid infrastructure? How it's
like one big one they could turn off in the whole South and be without.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's how the whole country. There's like 5 in the whole country, ain't it?
The grid is apparently, it's kind of like at my job, right? And we're not going to say where I work, but all their equipment is garbage. No offense to them. I'll probably get canceled, lose my job. But all their equipment is ill taken care of, garbage equipment. The trucks, the forklifts, I'm sure the pallet jacks too. But
not the pallet jacks.
And it's like everything's always in the shop. Instead of reinstalling something, there was a pipeline I read about, and this isn't over here, but that they let it sit underwater so long it had rusted. Things were, when they should have replaced it almost 100 years ago. It was really like 50. And that's kind of the same shape our power grid is in, apparently, and vulnerable to cyber attacks. Because there was that time where these guys, they broke in this really happened. You can look it up, where hackers broke in to the U.S. power grid and they caused some damage just to prove that it could be done so easily. Like, that's not good. You know, I think we should have a much better infrastructure, and they could use taxes from all those things, like you mentioned, to help out with that. And I know that those are technically companies, you know what I'm saying, that like Duke Energy, Broad River, that run it, but if it's worth the people's money, you know what I mean. At least some federal protection, because you have to recognize that your water systems and that your power systems are a necessity, and that's going to cause all kinds of problems without those.
I mean, like my employer, they changed the way we look at our check stubs and stuff. They redone the app and everything. Mm-hmm. Now, it's like a 2-factor authentication, and they give us a login and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they done that for their protection, not ours. So they couldn't access get any of their information through our accounts.
Oh yeah.
It was like, we don't care about you, but we'll do this to protect us.
You said that was who did it now?
My employer.
Oh, your employer. Why? How is that going to protect their information? Like,
because you can access some of their information and stuff, and just
it was easier. Like it was easier to access some of their information, so they took steps to protect their own cybersecurity, but not like you guys. It was more in their
it's protecting ours a little bit, some of our personal information, but it wasn't done for us. It was done for the main. You know how that stuff works.
Well, I can understand that, because I mean, if we had a company, right, we would definitely look out for number one first. And then obviously you got to look out for your people, but I mean, if it comes to making sure we don't get a couple $1 million stolen versus, say, I don't know what would be a small example, I don't know what would be a small. I mean, I guess you really should always make sure that their information is protected, because I mean, people will have cyber attacks coming in from different countries, especially like India, China. To get people's stuff is much bigger than it used to be. But I can understand a company making it more of a priority to make sure that the company as a whole doesn't get shut down, like, or their website, Amazon's website, don't get shut down, versus they might spend a little less time making sure the Amazon employee app, where you can access your W-2, is as secure. But they should still, obviously.
And that's what they were doing, making that secure so that they can't get into that, to cause more damage.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that was Amazon. I was just using them as an example. But I don't know. So what are you guys doing after this?
I'm going to see what the details on the camper is going to be. Play that negotiating and play that fun game.
I think it's going to be cool to watch how that works out. I don't know if you're going to get the new one or not, but I'm talking about you and Kyla, like, living together. Like, hopefully you guys aren't packed in there like sardines.
And the one we are in now, I mean, it's still 26 foot long, but this one with a slide will definitely. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a lot bigger and definitely a lot more roomy. Definitely for more livable. Like, ours is perfect, going camping.
Yeah.
But living full time.
Yeah.
A little tight.
Yeah. Well, I did want to ask you.
It's kind of hypocritical, though. We're doing that not to pay rent, but yet me and you talking about buying property to rent. But
I mean, but you got to take care of yourself first.
Right. You got to be smart about it. Why waste my money in rent, paying their mortgage in their pocket? When I can save that money. Mm-hmm. Not rent, and then buy my own place, rent out to somebody else,
Yeah, and I guess we got you a new name. You're the little pig named Babe. Mm-hmm. He's the trailer park boy. I'm just checking. No,
Bubbles.
But this is the Bubble.
Bubbles,
I didn't watch the show, so I really don't know. But what was I gonna say? Oh, was gonna ask you. So, how does it feel to be engaged for those listening?
I mean, it feels really good. I mean,
What was? Let me ask you. What was the grand moment that you decided that this was like the one? What showed it to you?
yeah, there wasn't one. Just kind of.
Was it just like building evidence?
Yeah,
over
just
time?
building evidence and just little here's and there. Just built up. The whole foundation. It wasn't just like bam. It was just.
Yeah, and I think we're talking about like relationships or whatever. Me and her, we've tried slow and fast, and slow is definitely better. So we've that's been my experience.
Slow and fast as far as take it with a relationship.
Well, I mean, we've literally been back and forth, so we've tried like jumping in real quick. Now we still ended up living together for various family reasons or whatever, but it's not like we rushed into it. You know what I'm saying? And so that was nicer. It was better this time around for sure.
It seemed like y'all been doing really good here as of late.
That is good. We appreciate it. We're trying. Anyway, I haven't took the machete tour yet, so.
Thank God.
That's too much work. That's why I got to keep that thing on me.
What thing?
What thing?
The Glock?
No, the Glock stays at home.
Oh.
The Smith & Wesson M&P Shield.
Oh, you keep the Smith & Wesson on you, huh?
I'm actually going to get some CWP on the 13th.
Are you? Let me know how that goes. I heard it's not difficult. I said I heard. I heard it's not difficult. I hear it's not difficult. You just, as long as you can aim. I found out that I've probably told you this. I pretty much can, anything with a little bit of weight to it, like as far as handgun goes, 45, so a heavy 9mm, I can shoot really good with. Was it Jonathan's 9mm we shot, and we yeah. I'm surprised I actually hit it. So apparently I can shoot.
That's not what comes to mind when I say destroy a toilet, but we can definitely keep going.
Not me either, not generally. But at her property, she had it to where I don't know. Jonathan, you should have seen what he said first, because she told me, but he wasn't around when she told me. But she had set it up to be like this lawn ornament. Like some people will do like a flower bed in a toilet or whatever. And I mean, I wasn't a big fan of it, but some people I've seen do it. They'll use tires and stuff.
Of course, tires. I mean, you done that.
I've seen
redneck heritage.
Yeah, right. And Jonathan got over there. He's like, "Who put a toilet in the yard?" Yeah, and we're both laughing. We ended up shooting it with his Glock. I think it was great. I still, maybe I shouldn't say it, but
What?
remember we were talking about the tannerite.
Oh yeah.
That would be so. Have you shot tannerite yet? Jonathan's had me do this. I strapped it to this old Toshiba laptop, which duly received its reward. I strapped tannerite. You can buy this at Academy Sports. It's an explosive, apparently.
I don't know. You can get it from Academy.
Yeah, you can get it from Academy. I was surprised. It's not like a fire explosive. It's like an expansive explosive. So if it's hit with something to a certain mile an hour, a gunshot will do it.
Hey.
You shoot it, and it explodes immediately. I'm telling you, when we shot that laptop, there was only like a small shred of it left. We couldn't find the rest. It was destroyed. It was annihilated. I thought about, we're probably not going to do...
Why men don't live as long as women. Because men do stupid crap like that.
It's not stupid. It's amazing. It's what I live for.
I mean, I like to watch things go boom too, but I don't want to be
If you're not... we were standing right next to it. We were like 20 yards out.
still. That's too close.
I mean, we weren't a football field away, but we were far enough away.
Shrapnel hit you in the right spot and bleed out in minutes.
I mean, I hear you.
I mean,
But if I got to get sandbags to blow stuff up, I will. But I thought about, okay, you know how we took you to where that old trailer was standing?
Mm-hmm.
Thought about putting some right on the beams and then shooting them all at the same time. And just boom, collapse.
But we can't do that because the hookup right there is so.
I know, but it would be fun. We're probably gonna get a real demolition crew.
Yes,
But okay, so you guys are getting married in what? October 15th, right?
Yep.
Did you know you signed up to do it on Kevin's birthday?
No.
Did I tell you that it's Kevin's birthday? You can't do it now. I'm just No,
The deposit's already been made.
He said it's happening. He said it's happening now, boys.
His
Ain't no turning back.
His birthday will now be second place on October 15th.
Is that right? I guess so. Well, he's got all his holidays in October. He's got half of his kids born in October. It feels like I think his first one was. His wife's birthday, I think, is in October. Their wedding anniversary is in October. His birthday is in October.
That's rough.
Yeah, that's a money month. It's got to be for him.
I mean, look at me. Valentine's is the 14th. Her birthday's the 24th. I only have 2 full weeks, to recover. To get another paycheck in.
I know it. Did you, well, I guess I can't ask you what you got her. Well, you showed me in the bag.
Yeah.
Is
She ain't gonna watch this. And especially not gonna watch, 2 hours of it.
She probably won't. What'd you get her other than that?
Oh, that's it
That
so
was-
far.
That was it.
I was
Just
gonna
the
get her
stuffs.
something else from Advance. Oh, she wants me to get her oil change.
I guess you're gonna get her. See, practical requests. Why do we have to have the giant octopus?
Because it's fluffy and I want it.
Okay. I
There
hear
should
you.
be reason enough.
He's got something else fluffy that you might want.
It's me, Big Daddy. Anyhow,
This has to be the most comical podcast so far.
yeah, you have been actually. All right, what time is it now?
It is 2:36.
2:36. I don't know if we should wrap it up or not. Are you? What,
I mean, we haven't hit religion yet. I know you said you want.
I mean, we can hit on anything. Yeah, we could. Where would you like to go with that?
I don't know, just wherever you want to start, I guess.
I don't know.
We can. It don't matter.
Well, I guess we can tell people how we actually met, because I'm sure that some of them will know, but some of them won't. So, you remember good old Morningstar?
Yes, sir.
So, Chris is actually one of the kids we picked up on the bus ministry,
The
and
van.
we've still kept him around.
I wasn't luxury enough or bougie enough to get to ride the bus. I had to
Yeah,
ride
I
the
guess it was
van.
I mean, we all rode the van. The bus wasn't always around.
I've passed by there recently. It looks like they've gotten rid of the bus.
Did they? I don't know.
I was definitely a van person.
Were you a van person?
Yeah, because
Were you but short van, right? Not like short bus.
no, it's a van because
Wow.
it's too big to go down into the hole in Happy Valley.
Happy Valley.
That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day.
Yeah. So, and you haven't actually been to Morningstar, but isn't it weird though? Like going over there when you do in the new. Well, you spent a lot more services over there than I did in the new building.
Not a whole lot, but yeah.
No. But that's how we ended up meeting. The old independent, fundamental, King James only, Bible believing
Baptist church.
Baptist. I mean, I would still consider myself roughly the same. But I guess I just don't like their methods sometimes. No, I mean, it's not like they're going out, forcing little kids to convert. They just take them on school bus. That's not what I mean. Just the way they go about sometimes.
Right, like I
talking about
couldn't
people.
go there.
They go on an attack on people a lot.
I couldn't go there now. Probably the reason I still stay out of church, at least the moment now, I still listen to some online services, but I can only make. I can make it work my schedule. I feel like it's very disrespectful to be falling asleep in church. That's my personal opinion. Take that for what that's worth.
Yeah. I mean,
With me working night shift,
I used to do that a lot. I mean, I wouldn't try to fall asleep. And it's not that it wasn't interesting. But it also depended on who was teaching too or preaching, I suppose. Because I've had some ministers that would really grab my attention, and they would spit out a lot of facts, and give you a lot to think on. And then you have others who are, you feel like they got more of an agenda, if that makes sense. It's more of making sure we just keep pumping whatever kind of dogma they feel like pumping that day, versus really trying to take you along, you know. And that's one thing I always, and I've told her that when I tried to, I only tried to date like a couple of independent Baptist girls. One was pretty cool, but we never ended up dating that. But there was only one that was actually cool. But the others were, it just seemed like they were just so indoctrinated, like they didn't think for themselves. And they wouldn't say that. But when I can predict every answer and it feels like you don't have your own opinion on anything, you know, it's kind of, I see a lot of that go on. They're all very consistent with just what their preacher thinks. And of course, it seems like their ministers are okay with it.
I'm not going to say any names or anything for the sake of, you know.
There's no reason to.
But actually, Kyla know, we know me and you know the older sibling, but one of the younger siblings, somebody we know, somebody, Kyle actually got to work with, and told me like if just talking with her and stuff, like and their parents told her like if you don't come to church, you can't live here.
And I don't know how I feel about that, but I know I've had friends that have been in that situation, you know what I mean? And I don't feel like it should be compelled after a certain age. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I had small children and where I went, they're going to go. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I might give them, say, for instance, maybe a little bit of guidance as far as how I feel about certain things, not to, like, disrespect the minister, be like, okay, so here's the way they presented it. Maybe I want you to see that there's more than one view of this. Because I do believe you should let children and things like that form their own opinion, you know, at a certain age. That way they don't go walking around like little sheep people. You know what I mean? And I get it that, you know, we're all sheep, you know, the terminology of the Bible. But it doesn't mean be stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And I'm not saying that they are, but the fact that there's an emphasis might not be the right word, but there's almost their own little independent Baptist cancel culture. Let's put it that way. I see that pretty frequently in people that have different ideas, that are close. They tend to shut them off a lot quicker. I'll say it like that. They tend to cut them off a lot quicker, and I don't like that.
Yeah, and definitely, you know, just keep on, and you know, like having to work and stuff. Oh, they're gonna hammer you down every week. Oh, you need to quit that job. And
oh yeah, I remember a guy. You remember Josh Allen? We had a conversation. Big Josh.
I didn't. He was gone before I got there.
Oh, he was gone before you got there. But you know, he was feeling bad about that, and I wondered why that was. You know, and I'm like, man, if you have to take care of yourself, you know, it's kind of like, you know, what Jesus said, you know, if your oxen's in the ditch, you know, get them out, you know, plan for your schedule in the future if you can. You know what I'm saying? Some people have demanding careers that they can't. And I think that's perfectly reasonable. But if you can work it out to where it works with your schedule, that's one thing. But to constantly berate your parishioner or your church member because they aren't able to make it on Sunday is honestly kind of sad. You know what I mean? At least it feels like to me like you don't have enough. You know what I mean? And I do think that, you know, if you want to be serious about like going to church or whatever, and I'm out for different reasons, but definitely don't come off with that kind of judgmental spirit about it, because I think that's largely what I remember you feeling back then too. I know Josh struggled with that at the time. I'm like, man, if you gotta go to work and pay your bills, because you have to pay, and not you, but him at the time, he was under child support and things like that. I'm like, man, you know, don't be so hard on yourself, you know. And people were making him hard on himself, it felt like.
Most definitely, in my situation, I was in college. You know, I didn't have a week to work. I was in class for 4 days a week, and
Yeah, I remember that.
it was just kind of
Like, your life got crazy, and I feel like there is a percentage of people that maybe they do just forget their roots after they leave. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those guys. I know you're not like one of those guys, but
like I said.
and I think that's what they get so afraid of, that they act like that.
But it's almost like now, it's like, dang, would I even dare step foot back in there?
Why you say that?
Just like some of the ways and stuff.
Ways how?
Oh, are you finally coming back to get right? And
Oh yeah, that kind of
like almost like
treatment.
you go get saved again or something. You know, it's like,
because you couldn't, because you didn't do what they wanted you to do. Somehow they always infer things like that, like you're not, you know, that they'll say it in a really, really nice Southern way, but that is one of like it's like that being nice to your face, but oh man, he's been out such
like
a
the
long
whole
time.
blessed phrase women say.
Yeah, and I say it too. Actually, I'll be like bless it, but I'll do it, and they know I'm joking with them. You know, like she'll trip and fall, I'll be like bless. You know,
Yeah, I don't say that malarkey.
isn't that malarkey?
Yeah, more along the lines of, sorry, but I don't care.
You think
Or-
so?
I don't know. It seemed like the way it's been told to me, it's like, oh, sorry, poor pitiful you.
Mm.
That. And I, you know, I'm not the type, you know, if I'm,
Well, you're usually upfront in whatever you say. I mean, you crack jokes.
yeah, I'm up front, but you know, if I'm mad or you know something serious, you know,
You'll usually say what you're thinking, you know, and not sugarcoat it. And I feel like we
or
do
if I
a
don't
lot of
care,
that here.
if I feel like I don't care, you know, yeah, well, that's cool, you know, I say the general like we all say, but I don't try to be. I don't know. It almost seems like saying blessed is almost like being fake about it, you know, almost to a point. At least the way I see it, like I said, that's just my opinion. My opinion, no, don't
It just depends on who it
ain't worth a
is.
grain of salt.
Because some
but-
people I've heard say it and it be like that, as far as
and some
it be
people,
like that, but it to where it's almost like, oh god, that person's kind of stupid. You know what I mean? But then it's others like, it'd be like saying, look at old Chris, you know, but not in an insulting way. Like, there he comes, you know. I've seen it used different ways.
and see now when I say stuff like that, we're like, man, you just a big old SB.
People say that.
I mean, we got a big crew at work, you know, always saying SB. I'm sure you can figure out what that means.
Yeah.
Stupid female dog.
But I don't know. When it comes to the whole independent Baptist thing, I still mostly believe what they believe.
And then you got like people like I said, I'm not gonna say no names on here,
Yeah.
or not no church names. But like I've seen people, you know, we're friends with, make fun of them.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm not so appreciative of that either.
like that one down in Georgia. Like I said, I ain't gonna say the names. Respect all of them, love them.
You talking about John Dorsey?
No, like
Oh.
like I just invited Edward and his family to the wedding.
Right, yeah. Oh, you're talking, okay, you know how they'll make, okay, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I saw that a
they'll
while
make-
back.
and
I
there's
almost,
different factions in between them that they'll make fun of too.
I mean, it's
That's just like this culture behind some of it, where there's this constant.
well with them.
Judgment.
They're almost pressuring you into being a missionary. Almost, it seems like that's
It
kind of the
did.
vibe I felt like. You have to be a missionary, or what in the hell are you doing with your life?
Mm,
Essentially, what I got. It seemed like with they focused so hard on getting missionaries. It seemed like almost they lost the sight of, you know, getting people saved and getting people going to heaven at their own church. It seems like. At least the vibe I got. I only went there a handful of times.
Yeah, and I mean there is and in Morningstar they had a mission mindset.
Right, but they never. Hey, you got to be a mission. They never forced it on you though.
Yeah.
Hey, the Great Commission, Matthew. I can't.
Yeah, or no, not Matthew 6. Like
go ye into all nations.
Yeah, last chapter, Matthew.
Preach the gospel of Christ.
And I think that should definitely be a focus. It's not.
It should be a focus, but it shouldn't be.
But at the same time, guys that do that, I don't think you can have your personal disagreement with how they do it, but it's not something that's not necessarily not up for criticism, because it is. Everything's up for criticism, really.
Especially in 2022, man.
Yeah. Everything's up for criticism and cancellation, but no, I'm just playing. But at the same time, they still have to recognize that there still are people.
Yes, sir.
And that includes Methodists, the Pentecostals too, and it's okay to establish the boundaries of our differences. But at the same time, I see guys establishing the boundaries, but with a hateful attitude, and that's not okay.
And see, that's kind of what I developed. I mean, I've kind of seen past that now, but it's like when I was.
Man, I did both.
When I was doing that, it's like, so you're a liberal contemporary church, I got and kind of already have that mindset.
Mm-hmm. It's like you don't want to have any more conversations with them because you already know where they're coming from immediately, and how they're gonna respond, versus asking you about it or versus talking to you about it. Like I knew one guy, and I don't know how he does this stuff, but he did a lot of good in the community. His church had a more contemporary sort of thing to it, but instead of berating me on, say, like my King James only stance or whatever, or at least my Texas Receptus only stance, I'm not sure where I'm at with that right now, but instead of treating me like some lesser class Christian or something like that, he did ask questions. So I don't know. I feel like that's the way you should treat people. You should ask questions. See where they're really at.
Like I had a good discussion with come to find out he's a Muslim. I guess I should have picked up on what. I mean, his last name's Mohammed. I mean, two and two together, but I like not to assume stuff about people.
Yeah, there are guys that are not Muslim that have the name Muhammad. So but it's way more common, obviously.
He gave me an insight on pagan holidays and stuff. You're like, Christmas is pagan and Easter's pagan. And
like they're at their roots and stuff like that. What brought that up, though?
Well, at work, we got this part of work. We call it Rainbow Row, Sodom and Gomorrah. So that's what
Why do I feel like this is where, like, a certain group is?
Because we were talking about something, and then he's like, well, I don't. He said something, and then he brought up Sodom and Gomorrah, so I was like, so you do know a lot about it then? Or something.
About what, though?
The Bible was like, I'll read the Quran, too. I mean, I wasn't thinking. I was working.
Yeah, just trying to talk in that day. Actually, if somebody has, like, a Quran that is used by the majority of Muslims, I'm not sure which one that the vast majority use. I would like one.
I can definitely ask him next time I see him.
Ask him.
Sell one,
because I would even love to talk to somebody that really has like a fundamental belief in the Quran. That way I could, I don't know, get to know more. I've had a Muslim boss, and he was super fun to talk to. He totally tried to convert me, but it was so fun to talk to him. And he had good reasons for why he believed what he believed, and he said he had like a reevaluation of his faith, I think, after 9/11. He's like, are we really like this? You know what I mean? Because they saw the terrorist attacks or something like that. Obviously, they're not all the same. And that's how I've treated Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, you got regular Muslims and you have radical.
That's how you got to treat every group. And it comes down to talking to the individual. And that's how I've always tried to treat people. If you talk to the individual, you're going to get a better idea for what they actually think. What kills me is when I come in contact with an individual and they have what some people would call a group identity, where everything that they say is like a mouthpiece for the ideas of whatever the belief system they're involved in is versus their heartfelt conviction. Maybe all their heartfelt convictions are just one thing, but it makes me think that they haven't dug deep enough. That's how it feels. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes people, don't feel like they're all in. It's kind of just walking the walk and talking the talk.
Yeah, but I'm talking more like people who. Yeah, I guess so. That would still be right, because if they were all in, or whatever you want to call
It'd be from the heart, not
it would
just.
be something that they had wrestled with themselves. Jordan Peterson has a thing where he talks about those who wrestle with God. Jacob, how he wrestled with God. I think it was in Bethel or whatever. And I think that's how you have to have your relationship with on a spiritual nature, but in general too, where you actually wrestle over different topics. You take one perspective, take another, see if there's a middle, if there's not. You know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons I started doing this, is I guess to be more in contact with people who are probably a little bit different, that can also aid me too, and I think people should have that.
Almost definitely. I mean, just because like I said, you do a podcast with a Muslim, I mean, they're probably not going to
make you Muslim.
Yeah, it doesn't going to convert you or make you a Muslim, but definitely get his opinion. I still got to research, see what he was saying was true. But talking about like Christmas is a pagan holiday, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, nowhere in the Bible does it say, December 25th was when Jesus was born.
Obviously,
right? I mean, it's
and
then there ain't no Easter. I mean, then they're talking about no Easter bunny and stuff. And he got in the background of that they got done a bunny because they used to have sex and orgies and stuff on that time.
It's a symbol of fertility,
right? And that's what.
Yeah. I mean, and I used to be actually.
And the egg is like hide and go get it. You know what they would.
Do you know you didn't used to celebrate Christmas as like a Christian? That was like a Christian thing I did. I didn't celebrate Christmas for a long time. I know there's some people out there that remember me like that. I don't
think I remember.
It was in my more militant days.
I was about to say, because I remember you moving in here. It's like, I'm about to you put a Christmas tree up in September.
Yeah.
I was like, God.
I totally did. Anyways, man, I guess we're going to wrap it up because it's been about 2 hours.
All righty.
All right. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. And hopefully we'll see each other again real soon.
Peace out from the Roginator.
All right. All right, bye. Thank you for watching this episode of BrandtCast. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more content like this. Thank you again, and keep talking.